Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Tracky Innovation, Sustainability, and Learning. I'm your host, Amy Affelt, and we're here for blockchain tech for libraries. It's a big topic, and we're going to start with Nabi Hasan from the Indian Institute of Technology, and he will be followed by Anthony Paganelli from Western Kentucky University. And they're going to be giving us background about blockchain and then how it's applicable to libraries in particular. So I'm going to start with Nabi, followed by Anthony. And if you have any questions, please enter them into the chat. You can direct them to either person or just in general for anyone to answer. And we'll do that at the end. And also Nabi and Anthony will be available in the networking area after the session for you to speak with them individually if you would like to do that. So Nabi, I'm turning it over to you.
Thank you very much. I'm sharing my presentation. Thank you very much, organizers, for giving me this opportunity. Thank you very much, Amy, for moderating this session. And I'm also thankful to my fellow panelists, Andrea and Anthony. So this is a new technology. People are not very much familiar about this blockchain tech applications in libraries. So I'm going to cover some basic things, some So I'm going to cover some basics about blockchain technology, then some features, types, uses, and issues. Then why is blockchain popular? And of course, I'm going to cover its application in libraries, and then I will be summing up. So like the theory behind Bitcoin was first explained in 2008 by pseudonym Satoshi Nakamoto. And I think blockchain 1 is moved now to blockchain 4.0, and there were different applications of different generations. And blockchain 4.0 describes solutions and approaches that make blockchain technology usable for business demands, especially industry 4.0 demands. So what is blockchain technology? So blockchain technology is a structure that stores transactional records, also known as the block of the public, in several databases known as the chain in a network connected through peer-to-peer nodes. So typically this storage is referred to as digital ledger. So I hope Andrea or Anthony are going to cover in detail, because we have communicated something, but we are going to cover. But in simpler words, the digital ledger is like a Google spreadsheet shared among numerous computers in a network in which the transactional records are stored based on actual purchases. The fascinating angle is that anybody can see the data, but they can't corrupt it. So that is basically the beauty of this blockchain technology. So in general, some of the features of blockchain technology includes, like, it has real-time transaction settlement. There is no third-party involvement. It has durability and reliability. There is a cost saving. Then most important feature is its immutability. Then a public distributed ledger which works using a hashing encryption. This is what on which this technology works. Then every block has a hash value, which is the digital signature of the block. And all the transactions are approved and verified on the blockchain network using a proof of work consensus algorithm. And the blockchain network utilizes the resources of the miners. Some of the types of the blockchain include, primarily there are two types, public blockchain and private blockchain, but there are two other types as well, which are hybrid blockchain and consortium blockchain. So what is blockchain good for? Some of the uses of blockchain include, like, smart contracts, sharing economy, crowdfunding, governance, supply chain auditing, file storage, prediction markets, intellectual property, Internet of Things, microgrids, identity management, AML and KYC, private data management, land title registry, stock trading. So friends, this PPT has already been uploaded on the FedLaw platform. So I think you can see the details of the presentation. You can download it. So because we have limited time, so I am going to quickly cover all the content. The PPT will be available from the platform. This is how the blockchain technology works. Like a transaction is requested first. The transaction is broadcasted to a peer-to-peer or P2P network that consists of computers, otherwise known as nodes. The network of nodes uses known algorithms to validate the transaction and users status. A verified transaction can involve uh, cryptocurrency, contacts, records, or other information. The transaction is combined with other transactions once verified to create a new block of data for the ledger. The new block is added to the existing blockchain, which is permanent and unalterable, and the transaction is now finished. This is how the blockchain works. So nothing comes without any issues. Blockchain also has some issues. I'm not going to cover in detail, but of course, I'm going to share some of these issues are there with the blockchain as well, like ownership of a legal issues include ownership of a decentralized ledger. Privacy issues are also there. Some of the people also says that blockchain can be hacked as well, although this is one of the most important feature of blockchain technology. Then there are some standardization issues which include process management, data retention, provenance of information stored in the blockchain, authenticity of information, etc. So why is blockchain so popular? We are talking a lot about blockchain. Then when we are seeing the news, there is a information about the cryptocurrencies as well, bitcoins and other. So the reason for blockchain being so popular are like it is highly secure, it has a decentralized system, it has automation capability, and some other features. Now let's explore the main area, that is blockchain tech application in libraries. So the librarians can help blockchain education reach to all. Here the role of the librarian is important, like in need to understand blockchain, use of blockchain in various applications to provide blockchain education to user. These are some of the areas of implementation of blockchain technology libraries, which include like DRM, scholarly publication, plagiarism, interlibrary loan, including international interlibrary loans, payments, user to user or library to user transactions, etc. So blockchain technology opening new opportunities apart from its application in financial services. Blockchain-based system may be implemented in other fields related to libraries as well. For example, user to user and library to user book, loan, or circulation transactions is possible. Interlibrary loan, including international interlibrary loans, like IFLA is assisting in this regard, and cataloging using this technology is also possible. Then publishing ebooks and protecting digital first sale right is possible. Research institution network on blockchain is very secure. Then it is used in libraries for academic or scholarly publishing. Then for digital rights management or DRM and digital preservation and tracking, plagiarism detection, community-based collection to share object, tools, and services, library verification or for credentials. Then archiving and special collections are a very important document where the blockchain may be used. Then for corporate library record keeping and organizational data material. So some of the things I have covered here in detail. For example, if you want to do a user to user and library to user book loan, that is possible. Like sovereign identity, that is known as SSI, is a blockchain application that enables an individual or organization to have sole ownership and control of their digital and analog identities. Then blockchain could be used to develop international interlibrary loan pilot for the International Federation IFLA's voucher system. IFLA provide reusable vouchers to help libraries easily pay for international interlibrary loan requests. Then with the help of LibChain, a distributed library management system, patrons can provide the library books directly to other library users without bringing the book or any reading document back to the library. This is how user to user loan happens, uh, as you can see from the figure. Then library to user loan is also possible with the help of Bitcoin, this uh, technology. Then it is also very useful in publishing ebooks and protect digital first sale, right? Like the ebook subscriptions may have third party interference, and libraries or users are forced to pay for the complete package whether they use it or not. Also, the author does not get complete control over its creation. Amy, please stop me when I am exceeding the time. So the blockchain can help us to overcome this problem. Authors can create a smart contract where they can mention their own terms and conditions for the use of their book. Further, a smart contract creates an Ethereum network where anyone can purchase a book through the book token. I think in research institution, the blockchain is very important. For example, in India, we have premier institutions like Indian Institute of Technologies or centrally funded technical institutions or center research institutions, which are doing fundamental and applied research, and lot of patents are being filed. With the help of blockchain, these institutions may come together, and with the help of this technology, I think they can share the information like how they are doing the research so that there is no duplication of research among these government institutions. Then for academic or scholarly publishing, this blockchain can be used to create like time-stamped verifiable versions of journal articles. Irwin and Holden successfully tested the use of the Bitcoin blockchain as a low-cost, independently verifiable method that could be widely and readily used to audit and confirm the reliability of scientific studies. So there are many uses in academic or scholarly publishing. So blockchain could make a digital asset purchase of the research papers easier by assigning every research paper a Bitcoin address, that could be QR code as well, instead of requiring users to log in to publisher website. Then for DRM, it is very useful, like digital resources are inherently reproducible, and this create issues for libraries and publishers. So publishers are always worried and they are imposing draconian laws, which are generally not workable for libraries and consumers. So with the help of blockchain, we can create a unique verifiable record that anyone can access. It could be tied to digital materials as well, and it can safeguard the interest of the publishers as well. In academic publishing, blockchain technology can also be used for plagiarism detection and avoidance of plagiarism by auto citation. An Ethereum smart contract that does a literature search and automatically cites all the related literature. Thus, it would be an excellent time saver for researchers. So with this, I would like to sum up like blockchain is an emerging technology that provides librarians a unique opportunity to promote and facilitate collaboration among the libraries, peers, and users to enhance user-centered secured library services. It may help protect digital first sale rights, support scholarly publishing, and digital rights management. It can be used to secure user records in libraries, document library acquisitions, and improve collection management maintenance. The scholarly record is another use case that lends itself to the blockchain by allowing researchers to record and timestamp their ideas and disseminate knowledge. A number of library schools offer courses or supplementary lectures on blockchain now. St. George University has also once got a project on blockchain, US dollar 100,000, and Toronto reference library, Suffolk cooperative library system. There could be many which are already using this technology, and we can see a great scope for other libraries to follow. So blockchain is here to stay. However, it will take time, money, and efforts. So I have used some of these resources. I have given the references. You can download my PPT and go through these references. There is a lot of literature available using these references. And I have taken content from different sources. So I wish to acknowledge all those resources, though I have tried to give the references as well. So I would like to end with this quote from the Charles Darwin, that it is not the strongest of the species that survive, nor the most intelligent, but the one most responsive to change. So I think Bitcoin is the need of the hour. This is the more secure technology. And I think the usage of this technology is increasing in libraries or library related operations day by day. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Thank you all for joining this session. Over to you, Amy. Amy, are you there?
Not sure where Amy went. Let's see, our next presentation is a video, so let me see if I can pull up your video. And this is the revised one.
Yes, that's correct.
And
Hello and welcome to Blockchains in the Library. I'm Anthony Paganelli, and on behalf of my wife, Andrea Paganelli in Western Kentucky University, I'd like to welcome you as we discuss blockchain technology and the libraries. And so one of the things that always comes up is when we talk about, blockchain is what is blockchain? And I have here the video, which I won't play, but I recommend that if you ever wanted a good laugh and wanted to know what people felt in 1994 when they were trying to figure out what the internet was, this is a good clip of the Today Show as they try and explain what the internet is. And I feel like that's where we are right now, as we're trying to figure out what blockchain actually is. And I think it's kind of like confusing to a lot of people, and rightfully so, because there are a ton of definitions and ideals, examples, YouTube videos, everything about what blockchain actually is. Even I can provide you kind of this generic definition of blockchain as a database encompassing a physical chain of fixed link blocks, et cetera, et cetera. So basically, this is a distributed ledger type system. But I want for us today to kind of think about some terms that we probably hear when we learn about what blockchain is. And that is ideals of like peer-to-peer networks. So we're looking at databases. We're looking at all this whole distributed ledger that everyone can access. These are terms that us as librarians should be familiar with and should be able to kind of capitalize on this kind of concept. And so this whole idea of distributed ledger system, that what this blockchain is, this is kind of one of those many kind of illustrations that you'll find out there where you have this Genesis block. That's just kind of like where it all begins. This is the kind of like the first step into creating the chain. And you'll see kind of the elements of what a blockchain is, the whole hash. We'll look at the kind of the hash is a string of numbers that connects one block to the other. You'll see where it's timestamped. That way we know when it was placed on the blockchain and the data and information that's on that block. And so we'll kind of see how these blocks are connected and how it could be useful for us. So I think another reason that it's so complicated for us to understand, just like the internet was in 1994, is computer code. So when we look at what a actual block looks like, it has this index, this previous hash thing, this hash number that connects one to the other. The time it was created, the data that's on there. And we can look at these way the other blocks get connected to these blocks. It's this whole hash, this big long string of numbers that are connecting, you know, one block to the other. In other words, this hash mark that you're going to add must meet the previous hash on the previous block. And so that's when a lot of this mining kind of comes in, because there's this computer algorithm that has to go and connect these blocks together. That's a little bit more in depth than probably what we need to talk about today, but kind of gives you an idea about what it is. And I think those who have kind of looked at what a blockchain can do, I'm going to give you kind of a generic example of a blockchain, like in a way that we can use it to check out books. And in this case, like digital books in a sense. So I'm using kind of this whole ideal, like we could create just GINS blocks, and we'll see how someone does that. But before we really look at it, I wanted to show you kind of like this whole cryptography, this whole idea of a private and or block, or private or public key. This is the reason why everyone's so really enthusiastic about it, is because it does create such a safe, secure system. Because when we look at a cryptography key, you'll see how complicated it is, and I'll show you kind of when you go online, you can actually go to a private or public key generator. That's basically your password to create or access things on a blockchain. So this right here is just a generic type of generator that would generate like your password to access anything on a blockchain. So this will be your public key or your private key, depending on, you know, what system you're using. And you can see the key size here. It goes from 512 all the way up to 4096 bits. But let's say I do the 1024 bit. And so I'm going to let it generate the key. And so for a public key, this is my kind of like password, right? And so the private key, if you look at it, this right here would show you and demonstrate this is the reason why this is so secure. That is a very complicated password, so to speak. It'd be almost hard for anyone to hack. So I just kind of wanted to show you the kind of ideal reason why people are so kind of excited about it being so secure. So when we look at this example, you know, we've got our private key or public key, and we use that to either create a blockchain or, you know, interact with it. So basically, we look at the GINS block. We're saying, okay, we have a digital object here. Anybody that wants to access it must have the credentials for it, and they can only access it for 4 weeks. So person B comes along and says, oh, I agree to those terms. And so there's this kind of block that's entered. But in order for it to be validated, it will basically use that hash system, right? In order for B to connect to the GINS block, it has to have this validation of this hash key. And that's when this proof of work concept comes in. And that's where we have all these miners doing this, where it would validate these blocks and kind of complete. Again, that's kind of just really a generic kind of overview about like maybe something that we might be able to use within the library, those kind of concepts. But the San Jose State University received a grant from an IMLS grant to kind of look at blockchain technology in the libraries. And they came up with several kind of concepts that, you know, the possibilities that could be used within the library. And like this metadata system or data center, a place to share information. This protection of digital first sale rights, that's very important for us librarians. And it's a possibility for us to really explore that when it comes time for us to purchase digital ebooks, things like that, that kind of content, and for us to allow patrons to access that. And so that's something that's kind of important for us and that might very be beneficial for us. And of course, this gives author more control. If an author creates a work, they can put it on this blockchain, set the terms through this smart contract, kind of like what I just demonstrated with checking out a book. So they would have more control, and this is also ways that a lot of authors and musicians, artists are bypassing publishers. And so this is also the ideal for partner sharing with other libraries, because this is a peer-to-peer kind of network system. So the things we're going to look at that are beneficial for libraries is the whole concept, first of all, of decentralized systems. This is a great way for us to interact more with scholarly works and partner. So I kind of wanted to just kind of show a demonstration, kind of like how we could look at this as working with scholarly works. Because what we noticed, especially during the pandemic, was when the publishers kind of lifted a lot of restrictions on copyrights for researchers to, find a vaccine, or something for the COVID-19 virus, they became overwhelmed. There was a lot of researchers that had way too much access to too much information, and it was overwhelming. So what blockchain can do as far as scholarly works is to kind of reduce those redundancies that we see. And I'm using this example today of the legalization of marijuana, maybe because there's a lot of students use that topic, and then it's a broad topic, because when we look at research, there's always further research, right? There's always gaps within research. And so I began, let's say that the Jens block is the researcher one who creates this blockchain basically solely for the legalization of marijuana. So this researcher discusses the pros, the cons, etc. And then we start finding the gaps within that work, right? Researcher two says we can look at the economic impact of it. And then the third researcher can say, well, here's the government regulations, what's the legal age for all this? And then we can go even more further and look at, what's the mental health impact? And so, but we created kind of our database, our repository, so to speak, of scholarly works. And this reduces a lot of redundancies, and researchers can go strictly to this and find specific information. And all this, before it even gets put on the blockchain, can go through a peer review process, just like it would in an academic publisher journal. And this whole idea of partner sharing, right? That's something the San Jose State University was looking at. This whole idea of like MARC records. It's like, well, we purchased this book, The Blockchain, a guide for legal and business professionals. And we can say, okay, well, here's the Library of Congress classification system. Here's some other MARC record information, and we place that on the blockchain. Well, then another university who may purchase this can just access that same MARC record and use that for their records. And again, this is also maybe an opportunity that we can look at for interlibrary loans as well, in a system where we can all partner together. This is a way we might be able to decentralize even interlibrary loans. So one thing I kind of wanted to share today was this whole idea that we kind of looked at the basics of what blockchain is and this whole idea of computer code. And I think that's what scares a lot of us. It really does, because we don't know how to code some of this or how to create these things. And so there's a lot of apps becoming available for us to start using. It's like this distributed app system. Look at the interplanetary file system, Ethereum. These type of apps are available. I kind of noted that this is not like Twitter. A lot of people may look at blockchain as like, well, I've just posted something just like I would on social media. This is different in the sense that this is not a centralized system, because like if in Twitter's case, if there's they can take down posts, they can remove things on a blockchain. That's not possible. You cannot remove it once it's on there. So another app that's available that I think some of us might be able to use within the library realm is Descent. This goes to the whole idea and concept of digital proof. So when someone puts work using Descent, it's time-stamped, kind of like the whole idea of copyright. When the work is placed on a tangible medium. Same thing with creating private blockchains. You can do that here as well. You can get media content directly from the author, the creator. This is maybe a place for us as librarians to access music for our patrons. And then, of course, the interplanetary file system. This is a great way to begin, maybe start creating our scholarly works or repositories. This is a great way for us to also create a database for raw data. I think that's becoming more important in research now. And of course, we're looking at ways we can decentralize things. And one of the things I wanted us to look at, because here's some scholarly platforms that are available currently for us to start using. And we'll look at Orvivium. So I just kind of wanted to just show you kind of like what's available. And this is one of many that we can, as libraries, start looking at. So we can look at it from a researcher standpoint, right? So these are ways for us to go ahead and start creating this whole idea of a database or a blockchain for, our scholarly works. These are the same things. IBM also has things available. So I guess one thing that I want us to note is there's a lot of availability out here for us to go ahead and start creating our blockchains, and for us to go ahead and start thinking about possible ways to utilize it. So I also want us to know that blockchain is here to stay. Being in Kentucky, we are the second largest state for mining cryptocurrency. New York is first, Texas is third. This is just letting us know that it is here. Of course, those who know a lot about cryptocurrency and mining it, we know that it takes a lot of energy. There's a lot of sustainability issues there. I think they're starting to try and put these facilities near renewable sources such as hydro and wind and solar. But it's here. I mean, we're using it more in governments, in education. We're seeing it with block search, where students are able to get a digital diploma, and that allows them to have access to their transcripts. So when they leave the university with their diploma, they start applying for jobs, and the employer looks for transcripts instead of going to a registrar's office to pay for them. They have it digitally because it's a secure system, and they can show their employees their transcripts. And so they avoid all these fees in that centralized system of a registrar's office. So it's being used more a lot, especially in businesses and healthcare and insurance and things like that. So I think we're going beyond kind of the early adopter stage. I think we're moving forward with this. It's just a matter of us kind of beginning that, right? So it's kind of us kind of stepping out of our comfort zone, I would like to say. This is a great opportunity to start changing the way we provide services, the way we collect resources. And so that's something I would hope that we can learn from today, and then maybe we can start collaborating and moving forward, and maybe seeing what we can offer for library services in the future. And I want to thank you again for your time, and at this time we will start, I guess, accepting questions and answers. Thank you.
Thanks so much to you both. That was really, really interesting. It was a lot of background. And there is a question. You touched on this, Anthony, towards the end of your presentation, where you were talking about the sustainability issues and the impact on the environment. So one of the questions revolves around that. Just if you could touch on how libraries have a role with this, in that, is it a good idea? It takes up so much power. Libraries are usually really focused on sustainability and certainly concerned about climate change and things like that. So what is the role for libraries with blockchain? Is it something we should be doing in light of the amount of power it takes?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a fantastic question. And I mean, when we see a Bitcoin mining facility, I mean, we are looking at a huge facility, and it's full of these devices, these rigs. And but that's the sole purpose is for Bitcoin mining. I think on our scale, and if we could use a more economical, more sustainable process, if this is a peer-to-peer kind of system, let's make it just a peer-to-peer that we are connecting. We're not using no more than what we need. to interact with these documents. Now,
Okay,
Nabi may know a little bit more about that as far as details.
So I think like every technology has some limitations. It is consuming so much of power. But I think there is one area where definitely we should apply. Like in every country, there are some premium institutions. They are doing a lot of research. Lot of startup companies, unicorns, patents are coming out of their research, and they are doing same type of research. They are unaware what one is doing. So I think with the help of these secure transactions, at least in those areas, it should be applied. Maybe if there is a lot of power consumption, you may avoid using it for circulation or cataloging or user to user or library to user transactions. But I think for serious areas like for sharing research or like R&D on all those areas where the government funding is also involved in our country. So these institutions are known as institutions of national importance, funded by the government of India. So I think in these areas, definitely this should be explored and utilized.
thanks. There's another question. This is a pretty direct question. Is mining required for all applications of blockchain or just for Bitcoin?
Well, not every transaction will need a proof of work. And so when it needs that proof of work, that's the mining. And that's the reason why people are mining, because they get rewarded for doing a task, right? And so if there's an instance where we don't need that, then it's not required.
Okay, if that didn't answer what you had in mind, Nicholas, just feel free to ask a follow-up question in the chat. There's another question. Researchers and authors can already self-publish and copyright their work to protect it and bypass publishers. So why would I need blockchain to do this?
So I think if you don't want to explore blockchain for this purpose, but blockchain is not only for this purpose. You can explore for other purposes, like we discussed some of the things. You are right. Great question that you don't want to use it for these purposes, then it's okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
Nobody's
that is
going to
my,
make you use it.
Yeah, I think the thing about it is they have more control of their work. No one can take it down, right? If you're self-publishing it, then you may be putting it on a website or something where somebody can hack it, take it down, and alter it. So it just depends on how secure you want it. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a really good point, because we hear that all the time, right? I mean, you don't have any real security. I mean, cybersecurity next to blockchain is a huge growth industry. So, you know, I think that's really a concern and definitely a purpose for this. Another question is, oh, sorry.
yes, he's right. And is right, like your whatever you are uploading on like institutional repository or putting somewhere, that is not that much secure. So I think nothing comes free. So if you are
Right.
if you really want more secure thing, then I think you have to pay some price. It may be energy or something else or your efforts.
Another question is, what would be the general proportion of transactions needing mining versus transactions where mining isn't necessary for libraries? Anthony's coming up with the ratio here.
I would imagine this is how you're probably creating your blockchain. This is your contract. This is your terms, your agreements. I would think that would be the stage to where you would determine that. That's a good question. I think that'd be one where you would have to kind of see where you're at when you create this. I may be wrong, Nabi. You have any thoughts on that? Or?
So I think I have nothing to add new to this question, because I'm not really not that much familiar about the technical aspect. What we are exploring is its application in the library related things.
Right.
Another question is, do we need a developer to implement blockchain? Is there an application on blockchain which we can use to start to test it and get exposure to it?
Yeah, there was a couple that I kind of threw out, like the Orvium. I know there's several out there that, because I think we all understand that not all of us know Python or JavaScript and can create this. And so, yeah, there's a lot more apps becoming available, like IBM is working with businesses to start setting these things up.
Is that something that, do you know of any like free or open source sources of something like that, or would it all be something you'd have to buy? Do you know?
Well, I thought Nabi was going to say something. I would imagine this would be something as an organization, as an institution, you would probably want to kind of just research. You don't take the first one, right? You want to see what is applicable to your institution and what's going to work. And is it affordable, or is it, or sustainable? That's another issue. So, yeah.
So, yeah. So if you are in a good institution where there are AI and machine learning experts, I think, I mean, you can take help from them, and I think they can help you implement without buying any specifically any product or any like software. So like my institution is engineering and technology institution. Basically, we have a school of AI or like machine learning, and many such schools are there. So for an institution like ours, I think we do not require like support from outside. So our own people can do that. But of course, you need a really great liaison with those people. And I think librarians are the people who are really makes relations. They are good when it comes to friendship and coordinating with the people and for implementing the thing. So I think if we have good liaison with our people in the AI or machine learning departments, then they can help us implement such a technology in the libraries as well. Yeah.
Thanks. And so we're getting close to time, but we have a few more minutes if anyone wants to enter any more questions into the chat. This is definitely something that I think we're going to be talking about a long time into the future, and it's just in its nascent stages. But I mean, like you said, Anthony, this is not going away. So it's one of those things you can either get on board or be left behind. I think at least just in a basic knowledge of it, I think is something we all need. Here's someone who asks Nabi, which blockchain technology do you usually build applications on, ETH or BTC?
So we have yet not built, we are exploring, like, yeah, we are exploring to use it in the library. We have yet not practically implemented it, or we have not gone live.
Okay.
Yeah, it seems like with those, then you're looking more at fees for transactions, I would think, Ethereum and the Bitcoin.
Here's another question. Someone said that they heard that researchers in other countries republish others' investigative work as their own and even get recognition for it in their own countries. How could blockchain help with this?
Yeah, that's really good.
So in fact, that's the beauty of blockchain. Every transaction, every information is highly secure. I mean, that is the only beauty of this, keeping the information protected using blockchain. So Andrea has also explained, I have also shown in a couple of my slides as how it works. So I think if you go through like my PPT or the video of Andrea, I think your question will be answered.
We're just at about time, so I'm going to end this here. But again, you can go to the networking area to talk about this further. And thank you so much, Nabi and Anthony. This was really, really informative. And like I said, a really timely topic.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Emmy, for such a great opportunity. It's already 12:15 p.m. late night, so may please allow me to go to bed so that I can attend the office. I have to get up early in the morning at 6 o'clock again.
Wow, okay. Well, we'll see
Thank
you
you
in the
very much.
morning. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Bye.